Welcome back to the Quinexis podcast. I'm Chuck.
I'm Jack.
Today we're going to talk about cyber insurance. We've talked about cyber insurance before, but things are changing and we wanted to do an update. So Jack, what are we seeing that's changing in the cyber insurance industry?
The biggest thing that's changing is the insurance companies are becoming a little bit more, or actually some of them are even becoming a lot more picky on the type of risk they're willing to accept. Years ago, insurance companies would just write policies, fill out an application, tell them how much insurance you want, you get a policy, pay a premium. Today, the insurance companies are coming up with more questions on these policy applications, and they're looking for some basic cyber hygiene. Actually, when I say basic, some of them are getting a little bit more advanced into some more advanced controls. The reason for this is obvious. Ransomware has gone rampant, and the insurance companies have had to pay lots of big claims based on ransomware. And we've talked about the basics and how to protect the network, and the basics are extremely important at keeping a network protected, and insurance companies don't want or can't afford actually the type of risk that they've been experiencing with the claims that they've been paying out.
If a company is going through this process, what are some questions they should ask the insurance provider that they may not have thought of?
With any insurance policy, it's important that you actually read the policy. I read insurance policies. My insurance agent is actually surprised that I actually read policies that he gives me, and I ask questions about them. It's important to know what's covered, and it is just as important to understand what is not covered. So as you read the policy, you need to be looking for things that are not covered. And a couple questions to ask is intentional acts. Insurance policies don't cover an intentional act. And the policy, while a lot of legalese, you need to understand what intentional acts are. There's gray area and there's the reasonableness test. An example of an intentional act, and this is really basic and a little outside the scope, if you click on a link and your system becomes infected, just about every policy I've seen is going to cover you for that, 99.999. You'll be covered. Another intentional act, you have an employee that might be purposefully trying to hurt your company and installing malware. You should ask if that would be covered. There are a lot of companies out there selling cyber insurance, and a lot of insurance agents out there peddling cyber insurance just because it's an upsell. It's important that the agent you deal with understands cyber insurance. There are companies that specialize this and are very good at this. Chances of getting hit with ransomware is pretty great. It's not likely it's going to happen to you, but if you're going to get hit with something, most likely it's going to be ransomware. And really understanding the way you can be affected by ransomware and what you've done is adequate to have coverage is important. So take the time and read the policy and put your agent to the test.
I'm hearing about some insurance companies doing audits before they will issue a policy. What are you seeing on that standpoint?
We're seeing it's starting to happen, and it's really based on the size of the policy and the type of industry the company is in. The bigger the company, the more likely the company will have an audit. Some of these audits are performed via sending pictures and telephone conversations. Other audits, they actually send an on-site IT auditor in to look at the environment. What we're seeing, and it goes back to doing what you say you do, you fill out an application, you sign the application, you've checked the boxes that you have a patching system, you have an EDR solution, least privileges implemented, all systems as much as possible. You've got MFA, especially on admin type accounts and remote access accounts. They'll be going through the audit, making sure and actually looking that you have these things in place. And when you send that application to go beyond that audit, if you have a claim, once you've signed and attested that you're doing these things, depending again on the language of the policy, if you stop doing them for some reason, something came up, people changed seats and nobody was watching the process and had ownership at the process at a high level to make sure that process is happening. And then you have an incident, and again, ransomware is one of the most likely incidents a company will face. You may find yourself without coverage. It's very important that if you say you're going to do these things, you continue to do those things.
How does Quinexis help clients meet cyber insurance requirements?
So every month we get maybe 4 or 5 applications that our clients are receiving. They forward them to us and ask for assistance with meeting the requirements. Some of our clients that have actually implemented a control framework, a security control framework, it's very easy to check off the boxes. Other clients that have not yet implemented a control framework, we sit down with, explain what needs to be done to meet these requirements, and assist them with meeting the requirements. The key items that we've already discussed, and there's controls that we can put in place to do that. Again, I recommend everybody out there consider one of the several control frameworks and adopt one. You don't have to do it overnight, just start working on it. And when you need a starting point, look at what the typical requirements are for a cyber insurance policy and start with those.
As always, thanks for joining us. Like, comment, and subscribe wherever you're seeing this, and we'll see you on the next video.